Tell me what the hell are you scared of when in the end the only thing
Where's
that's
the love?
left
Right here on
love's
this
in your
podcast.
hand.
Welcome to
Welcome
Love
to Love
Drops,
Drops,
where your
tell us
hosts
the things
and
others
One
have
Love
done
ambassadors,
never
Charles
received
and
will
Diane,
always
will
together
share
now
love,
to an empty
hope,
world
and
that takes us
inspirational
so much
topics
life
taken from
all
their
the
journey
reasons to
and
wish
world
I was
events.
a child
We
to
will also
fly
include on location recordings and special pop up guests from cool places all around the world. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
whether big or small, love never fails. Oh, love it conquers all. Love never fails.
Well, all right, now we are here with our dear friend, and just I would say she is a Love Drop podcast regular, not only supporter, but also a guest, not only herself, but she shares her amazing son, Eric, with us as well. I just want to thank Dr. LaShaunda Massey for joining us today and letting us know what's new with you, especially in the season of fall that we're entering. And as an advocate and as just a worker in mental health, I am sure that you got lots going on, and we are just so excited to hear. So, Dr. LaShaunda Massey, the mic is yours, and thank you for your yes.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It is so wonderful, to be in a space where the mental health is celebrated and always used to move everyone forward in what needs to be done. It's such a blessing to me to be able to have this connection with you where we're able to keep that message going, because all too often we don't talk enough about mental health and how it undergirds all that we do, even the professional, right? That I have to make sure that I am taking care of my mental well-being and being able to practice what I preach, as they say. And it's given me a lot more motivation, I would say, giving me a lot more motivation to live the things that I speak about, and then be able to talk through, the reality of how do we bring these things into fruition. I've been talking to a lot of people about the power of our thoughts and our minds, and how we are needing some very significant mindset shifts to be able to function more healthily in this world. So being able to really walk that journey myself and
Yeah.
understanding what kind of changes in the mind need to be taking place for us to walk into just kind of a new space, a new space that has to be occupied. We've been guided by a lot of messaging and narratives from the past that were relevant for a time. Times have changed, and many of us are struggling to maintain a nice quality of life, a high quality of life, because we are stuck using outdated strategies
Yes.
for defining self, defining success, defining relationships. So I'm really in this season of helping people look at what are the messages, what are the thoughts that are really guiding, how you are functioning, how you are focusing, how you are connecting, and making sure that those are relevant for what is necessary now, and which ones are not just no longer relevant, but are actually detrimental
Yeah. Yeah,
to
that
how
is
we
so
move forward.
good. That is so good, LaShaunda. And one of the things I wanted to add is just having the right people around you as you navigate that space. And so, with that said, I'm so thankful to have you, and I'm so thankful to be a part of your journey and how we just check in. We just check in. What's going on? How you doing? Is there anything that
Absolutely.
I can do for you? And we check in as two strong, evolving sisters that are just taking big stages, making impacts globally in the world, right? And
Absolutely.
a lot of times we are perceived to be just fine. So people kind of pass us by on the check-ins a lot of times, like, I know she's good, I know she's good. And I'm so thankful to just have you and other sisters that are thriving, that know the importance of checking in on your strong friends.
Absolutely. That's one of those mindset shifts that we are all going through, right? That we were before being given the messages to be strong was always paired with independent. You're, a strong, independent woman,
Yeah.
which suggests that you're supposed to do it on your own. And somehow that is a definition of you're successful, or even that you're strong. And so I like to be able to reposition that and understand that our strength, right, is connected to our connectivity. How are we interacting, engaging, and making sure that there are ways to nurture that strength, that we don't deny that we have it. You sent me something the other day that's kind of spoke to that we are strong women, but we have to nurture that. If that's through a hug, through a conversation, through a check-in, through a therapy session, what are the things that we're doing to support our strong? We don't have to deny it and say, I'm not a strong one. Own your strong one. But like you
Yes.
said, find you a few strong ones that'll check in with you and making sure that we are nurturing that strength and doing what it takes to let that strength, and not allowing that to have to be paired with this word independent that makes us siloed and off on an island, but that you can be strong and connected.
Yes, change that narrative. And we have the power to do that. We have the power to change the narrative of what it means to be a strong woman. We have the power to bring that connectivity into play. We have the power to just check in regularly, take vacations, do retreats, you know,
Absolutely.
do whatever necessary, do whatever is necessary to get us through. And so, with that, I want to know what's new with you, Dr. LaShaunda.
Well, what is new with me? I think, as I was saying, along those lines of being able to recognize that there's more to happen in the connectivity. And I hadn't even planned to talk about this in this way, but this month, September, month we're ending, marked 18 years in clinical practice for me. And I've been writing about that here recently, and it'll be up on my website in a second. But I was speaking to what I have in starting my career. I would always say, that I was into private practice and I wanted to do that. And I would say, give me my four walls and my one client at a time. And we'll do some work and make some things happen. And that after 18 years, I guess I would, own it, that's been a successful strategy. It has worked. And there's been a lot of impact, but what I am able to see now that there is such a greater need, that the need for an understanding of mental health and how to navigate that space and really move the position, of the society, of the world, of even individuals within that, is going to take a broader scope. So I am embracing opportunities to come outside of those four walls, as you talked about, like an international reach. What more, can be coupled with the work that is done behind the four walls with the individuals to create that connectivity and bring about a different understanding for mental health at large, so that we can get a better world, to exist in and to bring people up in, and that we don't do that. We don't wait till we end up in crisis. And we've talked about that before in some of our mental health conversations, that we often talk about mental health after something has gone terribly wrong. Well, what if we did it the other way around? That we were training people to take care of their mental health and build the skills up to do that, so that one, we're probably preventing some tragedies from happening. And then we have a stronger foundation to operate from when something does happen adversely, and we're able to deal with that. And we have community to be able to understand that we can go through this collectively, and understand how to approach those things. So what's coming up for me is continuing to embrace opportunities to step outside of the four walls and really talk about mental health. And what I've talked about, kind of three areas that I'm going to do that I want to look at, elevation, that we're elevating mental health to its rightful space, that we need to be talking about it and dealing with it. We're educating. People have to be in the know. You can't just say, take care of your mental health. I know you've heard me say that part. When people say, take care of your mental health, zero people know how to do that, effectively, because we haven't trained that. We're not educated, on how to do that. And then lastly, the empowering of it, as we start to embrace a true understanding of mental health and its centrality to who we are, then we can be empowered again. We can move forward. We can do those mindset shifts that are necessary, so that we can live healthy, and understanding that our mental health is central to that. So I'm excited about, opportunities to be more vocal and more active outside of the four walls to bring about change for people that have impact and influence in that sphere.
I love it. That is so awesome. That is so awesome that you are stepping out of a comfort zone. You're stepping and just taking big leaps. And that's one thing about 2020 pandemic is that it opened up the world, even though it kind of shut us down and it put isolation, but then it opened up the world because it forced people to connect differently. And
Absolutely.
so, yeah, like with this Zoom, you can speak on huge stages, right? Globally, just like Eric, your son was over in Berlin, Germany from Memphis, Tennessee, though.
Correct.
So, it's amazing the things that you can do. I'm so excited. And I'm on board, and that
Absolutely.
every opportunity that I have to bring you in the room, I'm bringing you in the room. It's
I
coming to
appreciate
the
that.
stage, right?
And I'm going to do the same. Whenever you tell me what's going on, I'm going to be there to support it and lift you up and say, keep doing it, because your passion for this work is just inspiring, that you are not limited by the typical things that people would allow to hold them back. You decide, I will be obedient, and I will trust, and I will connect, and I will elevate. And it's that willingness that is really changing lives. So I thank you for that.
And I thank you, and I love how inspiration flows. It's not just one way.
Absolutely.
It flows throughout, and that's why we have such a strong sisterhood. We have such a strong foundation. I met you once in person. Nobody would ever believe it by the connection, and I call it a divine connection.
Absolutely.
And those connections are just connection. They're outside of us. It's beyond just the physicality of it. It is just like speaking you up in spaces. It's bringing you, oh, this is a great opportunity for you. Anytime I have sisters that I bring together, or anytime that, there's just a need to speak, you are my mental health go-to person, because you are not only trained, you're proficient, and not only that, you're intuitive, and you have a message that you live. Like, you show up. It's just like, if I had one mental health call, I'm on a show and it's like, who do you want to call? I'm calling you. I'm calling you, because
you're going to phone a friend. Phone me, please do.
Yes, I'm going to phone you. That's right. I'm going to phone you. So, with that said, how at this point in time can our listeners support what you are doing? What do you need? And don't say, like, I'm good. If you're going into opportunities, so you're going into rooms, and we don't know who's listening, but we know the right ones are. So
Absolutely. Well, what I'll be asking people to do is to follow me, on my website. There are going to be some new things coming up available there, some courses that people will be able to take, some workshops to sign up for and participate in, so that we're actually able to get in a room together and do the work. So as I said, I'll give the website, but there are going to be some new things coming up there. There are going to be some books coming down the pipeline that I'll be asking people to purchase and let them be, guides to how we're going to do this thing together. So I'm just asking people to stay attentive, to be willing to follow me on this journey of mental health out loud. Creating a larger, what I said, kind of a platform for mental health to exist, and that we're not just saying the words that we're going to be mentally healthy, that we're not minimizing it to, massages and manicures, that all those things are, I call them maintenance. Those are maintenance. Take care of yourself. Make sure you look good or you feel good. But let's do some deeper work that is sustainable, that carries us. And so that's what I'm asking for the support to do is visit the website, sometimes follow me on social media sites so you can know when something new is coming up, and then invest in yourself. As these courses and books become available, invest in yourself and your mental well-being. And that will help me, because I feel like if I can get more people willing to go on the journey, to do the work, that we will be in a much better place. So that's how I can be helped, by getting people to connect with me and say, let's do this mental health work together.
I love it. So are you open to speaking? Are you open to speaking opportunities? As far as like if someone, want you to come in and speak, are you taking speaking engagements? Because I know
Absolutely taking speaking engagement. People are, like I said, I'm always excited when people want mental health to be in the room, and I take an opportunity, and I'll own it a little bit, that as doctor of psychology, I own that the science of what I do pretty strongly. And I don't say this to be ugly, but I want people to be willing to engage with trained professionals. Right. And there's just a difference. People can speak differently from their, individual experiences, and those are important. But can we couple that with the expert experience? Because
Yeah.
everyone's experience is not the same. So if the only voices we hear are of people telling their own stories, then we're limiting what is available to us when we really tap into our own mental wellness, our own understanding of mental illness, and be able to bring that forward. That means you've got to have the scientists in the room. You got to have the people that are really deeper understanding of not just a personal, quest, but are able to couple those things, people's personal experiences with the science, and the human, and the psychology of it as a discipline. So I'm always willing to come into the room as an expert, right? As a clinician, to say, bring upon, someone, and invest in that. Don't just say show up, but say we want to make sure that we are bringing in and supplementing the mental health professional be there. So yes, if there are spaces that people are wanting to have mental health in the room, let's talk about it. I am accepting speaking engagements. I want to be where the conversations are being had, and having, like I said, that scientist voice present to say there's more that we can do, that isn't just, I'm here because I like you and I'm friendly, but I'm here because I understand how we really bring about this change.
Yeah, and I love that. And it's just like have the expert in the room. And you are not just an expert there. You're, again, intuitive. There is a discernment, there is a spirituality that is there. So it's not like you use your expertise, but then you're also open to be led, just to be led, by the spirit that is within you, to just know the spaces and how to make the connections, because that is something that an expert hand is needed. Because sometimes we, as the good friend, family, mother, we go in there and we can make things worse than better, because we think, oh, this might work, but you have a better sight to know how to approach a situation. You know how to approach it gingerly. You know how to approach, the approach to take. How about that? The approach to take. So if there's anybody that's listening, I just want to say that I 110% endorse my friend, colleague, just Dr. LaShaunda Massey. And if you want that expert in the room, here she is. But just know that you're getting an expert. So please, when you step to her as you're getting an expert in the room. And there is so much that she gives, but there is definitely a compensation that is involved there as well. So highly trained, expert, proven, 18 years 18 years in business, with a clientele so deep that as of a couple of years ago, she wasn't even taking new clients.
Still there, thankfully, still there with the waiting list.
Still, right, just still there with just clients that are returning, just a client, a consistent client base. And that within itself speaks to who you are and what you bring to the table. What
That's
you bring
good.
to the table.
I mean, and that's how we want it to be, right? Like that there has to be, as we talked about, the fruit of our labors. If they're, I talk about my practice mantra is where people get more than help, they get better. And that I'm
Yes.
looking for the better. And that's, so when people are willing to say, hey, I worked with Dr. Massey and I'm better. And so that word of mouth is happening and people are coming and they're wanting to do that. And I'm honest when I say we do the work. It's not just, they're not coming because it's just a feel good time and we enjoy sitting there and giggling with Dr. Massey. There's a box of tissue on the table because we do that work, right?
Yes.
And there's growth and people are talking about their growth. And I'm looking forward to that. Something else is coming down the pike, some opportunities to allow that coupling of the stories that I mentioned, that we can talk about people's personal journeys and couple that with the science and the clinical work that went along with that journey to progress and success and the better that they are experiencing, so that people can have a better understanding of how therapy differs from some of the other relationships that we have, and that we are not, and by any means, downing sisterhoods or downing, spiritual connections but learning how all these things must be interconnected,
Yes.
to make us who we are, and that we don't have to fight within ourselves. We want to be able to create the harmony of these things that need to exist, so that we are able to do that. I like that you mentioned that, that spiritual piece, that I'm even getting better at allowing that to be a part of how I communicate what I do. I have a speaking engagement in 2 weeks that's about mental health and ministry, and speaking to at a conference, a church conference, about that, so that we don't have to be in this space where our spiritual has to fight
Yes.
our human side or our science
Yes.
side or whatever that is, that we need all these things coming together to really be who we are in a holistic fashion, and that I'm not fighting against your best friend or your mother when you're coming to therapy to do that. I'm coupling with them, and bringing, like you said, a different voice to the table that's going to guide some things, in a way that even maybe allow you to benefit better from those relationships, because then those relationships don't become strained, because parents and best girlfriends and spouses are trying to be therapists, and instead of being able to walk in their role of supporter and lover, and that I will be there for you and with you, but I can not a fixer. We kind of talked about that coming on, that I don't have to fix it when I'm just being a supportive mother. As a therapist, I want to get in here and help you fix it. And I'm supposed to have the tools to do so. You bring your life work with my expertise, and that's where the magic happens, and being able to do that. So I appreciate you highlighting just the importance of these things, and how we don't have to be so, as we were just talking about, so independent, and that's supposed to be the definition of things, but how we navigate successful interdependence is what's going to be important.
Yes. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add the links in the narrative of of a couple other times that you have spoken. You're going to give your website. We're going to continue to follow you on this journey, of course, and bring it to the listeners. But just know that you in your lane are not alone either, and you don't have to do it by yourself too, and that you have a connection that is definitely spotlighting on you as you spotlight on others. So as you are pouring out, you have sisters and friends and family and people who love you that are pouring right back into your cup to help you to to continue your pour, to continue your.
I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. So let our listeners know how they can connect with you.
Please visit the website at drlpmassey.com. That's drlpmassey.com. And from there, there'll be a lot of new things happening that you'll be able to see on social media. It looks the same way, DRLP Massey, on if that's Facebook or Instagram. You'll be able to see the some links there when I'm putting things there, but they always exist on the website as well. So if you're able to do that, there's a subscribe button that we're going to be using more to allow people to know when new things are happening and available. So go to the website and subscribe, and just be able to look out for new things coming.
Yes, that is awesome. And do you have anything you want to leave our listeners with here in this season? Any inspiration words?
The words that I want to leave today, as we are into the month of October, which is a World Mental Health Day, is coming up in this month. Coming up in this month, is that we are all willing to commit to a deeper understanding of our mental wellness. I want people to have an understanding that we are not just gifted mental health. We're not just gifted mental wellness, but we want to be intentional about creating ways for that to be our reality, that we live mentally healthy daily. And what does that look like? So I want to encourage everyone to take some time to find out what it looks like for you to live mentally healthy daily. Am I jumping out of bed and racing, or am I waking up in the morning and taking a little time to plant my feet on the ground, or to solidify my thoughts or purify my heart? What am I doing? Am I resting at the end of the day? Making sure that I have a little bit of time to wind down and just enjoy and reflect, and not just rushing, to bed with a million thoughts racing. What am I doing on a daily basis to do that? So I want to encourage you that we have a strength to do that within ourselves, and then we can share that with others, and that we do exactly what you said. I ask people to find some accountability partners, and notice I did not say accountability. I don't want to have to say that the only thing you do is need someone to remind you to do what you're supposed to do. You kind of know that things kind of get lost. But how can we have some accountability partners? Those are going to check in and say, how'd it go today? Tell me all the great things that you did. So you're helping me count my blessings, helping me count my successes, not just holding me to, you didn't get that done, or what's wrong. You were supposed to, eat 500 calories today, but I say, hey, well, how we go? How many meals did you get in the way you wanted them to do today? So that we're focusing on our positives and the things that we've done well, and not just in the I wish it so, that I'm going to be well, but what am I doing that actually equals well? And can I see that in myself daily? So get you accountability partners, somebody that's helping you count the progresses.
All right. So how about you help me count, LaShaunda? No, well, actually, you're already doing that. I think we do it just unofficially, right?
Absolutely, we do.
And
We
check
do it
in.
officially.
So
You say how you doing, and having this space where we're like, hey, let's meet and let's chat, because whenever we have these chats, it blesses us both, and we're reminded of the importance of the work that we do and the importance of our connectivity, and that we're going to be able to say some things that really touch people, and we may not always know it, who it's touching, but we know that when we put it out there and we get it back later, they would say, I happen to see that, or I heard about that, I saw what you were doing. So we do it. It's good.
And yes, ma'am, it's good. So great catching up with you. So thankful for all the gold nuggets that once again you dropped. And I do want to get this on the episode. I get a lot of feedback, and we're going to, as we progress, we're going to try to engage the community more to post and put things down about different episodes so that our guests can hear and see what people are saying, what people try to engage. So we're going to work on that in 24. But I just want you to know, as late of last week, someone reached out and they were like, who is that speaking on mental health? Who is that guest? And I says, Dr. LaShaunda P. Massey. Yes. Oh my God. She is so on point. I will be sharing this episode, and it was just like they were really blessed, and that was definitely not the first time. I'm sure it won't be the last.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah. So just keep shining. And we're going to wrap this up, and I thank you. And until your next episode on the podcast,
I love to be here, and I'm so inspired by the work that you do, that you just keep going. And he's like, it's okay.
For that.
Whatever space I'm in, I'm going to do it here. I'm in my daughter's house and I'm still going to get it done. I'm, preparing, packing up boxes, and I'm still going to get it done. I love the willingness to just do the work.
Thank you so much. And before we cut off, I'm going to just throw this out here too. Your brother, Brian, we've been talking.
Yes.
So Brian, we're going to get Brian on the show. Pretty soon we're going to have your whole family.
Because listen, he is weird. You probably see us post, we refer to each other as wonder twins. But just having that, that connection. And he is such a good word,
yes, he is.
For people. And it's so good to hear it from a male perspective.
Oh, yeah.
you know, and
Exactly.
that he can speak to a lot of those things that people won't talk about in that way. So I'm glad you've been able to connect with him, and that he will, you know, be able
Oh
to share
yeah.
a bit.
Oh yeah, we're definitely going to pivot to the positivity with Diane
Absolutely.
Dexter. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. So I again want to thank you for joining today, and you have a fantastic day.
You do the same.
I will. And until next time, one love.
One love.
No, never a second will I waste, never an opportunity to taste the sweetness of this life.
Thank you for tuning in to the Love Drops podcast.
Follow the challenges
Be sure to
of
follow
life.
this podcast and share the love with everyone you know.
Love it
Until next
comes
time,
all.
this is
Whether
Charles
big or small.
and Diane
Love never,
signing off.
love never,
One love.
love it conquers all. Whether big or small, love never fails. Oh, love never, love it conquers all. Love never fails.